All right, I'm recording. Excellent. Welcome, everyone. This is the DELISA webinar, October 31st, 2024. We're meeting today with some friends from Queens Library to talk about opportunities there and generally expectations of Queens Library as an employer. And we're going to hear from Thomas Maxheimer and Alan Fuchs, who are part of the uh, executive suite or the administrative suite at Queens Library, as well as Ashley Henricks, who is a DLS alumni and currently branch manager.
Assistant branch manager.
Assistant Branch Manager in Queens Library. So welcome everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your afternoon to join us today. Um, as I said, Alan Fuchs. Oh, Thomas, I'm sorry, I didn't include you in the slide here. But what's your job title?
I'm the Director of Community Library Services.
Okay. And so that's part of like the way Queens is structured is the borough is divided up into like regions, right? And so there's different levels of hierarchy. Like a branch manager answers to like a district manager or something, and then that person it goes up the chain that way.
Right. We don't actually have districts. We have groups of branches and like two large groups and then a couple of smaller ones to account for some of the special libraries that we have. But I oversee approximately half, so about 27 of the 65 locations.
Wow. Yeah. So this is something that a lot of people, especially the people that are students outside of the New York metropolitan area, it may be hard for them to grasp. But in New York City's library system is comprised of three library systems. The New York Public Library covers the Bronx, Manhattan, and Staten Island. And Queens Public Library is all of Queens, and then Brooklyn Public Library is all of Brooklyn. And we collectively refer to them as the Tri-Li, the three library systems in New York City that are between New York City's Tri-Li and I think Toronto Public are like the two biggest circulating library systems in the world. So that gives you some idea of what, and these services are used. So there's what, 8 million people in New York City, they need libraries. I remember as a kid, I still have my original handwritten library card from NYPL that I got in like 1984. It's somewhere in it's one of my old checkbooks. Yeah, so the libraries are vital even in cities as massive as New York City. So I'll stop sharing my screen right now and we'll just start the conversation. Um, when it comes to, oh, we lost Alan a little bit. Hold on, let me bump him back in. All right, so Alan is actually part of human resources. So I'll wait for him to get back online and ask him questions about what kind of experience are you looking for? A new hire, new librarian, just graduated. They're in their final semester of library school and they're starting their job search in earnest. And they are looking for work. What kind of internship or previous training experience do you think will help them stand out?
Well, I would say certainly applying for either a library page or if they wanted to work as a customer service or working within our programming services department, in maybe some instructional capacity as an instructor or an intake advisor. So there's certainly different types of opportunities that would, in the very least, put them in the library setting. So, because what I've noticed really the 6 years that I've been at the library is that some of the best employees here are the ones that actually went through that earlier training, whether it be as a customer service professional or working in a page or a clerical. It puts them and it really prepares them for the future, to really grow within the library.
Yeah, and they should have also, there should be some familiarity with the library lingo. Like what's an ILS and what is, a MARC record and all of these kind of terms, the terminology that we use in libraries that it doesn't necessarily bleed into other enterprises.
Yeah. I would say anybody who has the credits, whether, what we talked earlier about a trainee position, but, that's a minimum 9 credits. or if they're just received their MLS degree, of course, they're welcome to interview. But as far as being better prepared, I certainly would agree that having some previous, clerical or, as a page, potentially, or even working as a client service professional could certainly prepare them in a greater way.
Right. So if you were kind of like, if you did hours or you temped at something like you were a receptionist or something behind a service desk, that might lend itself to that customer service training. You were already trained in that. I've had problems where Ashley can attest to this because she was one of my grad assistants in the office on Queens campus. Uh, I once handed a student worker a document and said, I need 3 collated copies of this, assuming that the undergraduate student worker knew how to operate a Xerox machine.
Right.
And an hour later, I went looking for her, and she was under a mound of papers. Like everything was spread out all over the back tables. And I said, "What are you doing?" And I showed her how to use the machine. And I said, "Is this your first job in an office?" And she kind of meekly agreed. And I said, "All right, now I have to train you in how to do this stuff." And also things as simple as transferring a phone call. Right? That's something that a lot of people take for granted is knowing how to operate a multi-line phone system or be in a multi-line phone system. So these are skills that it's better to prepare beforehand and have some working knowledge of um, just what a library does and what the expectations are in terms of patron interactions, handling materials, and processing in a timely way. Now, what internship opportunities does Queens Library offer currently?
As far as internships go, I would recommend, really applying for the page, as well as we have some clerical. We do have a summer youth program, but other than that, it's more on a case-by-case basis, really needed by the individual branches.
Okay, and what about Queen's Memory? Is that still a thing?
Queen's Memory is still a thing.
Yeah, because
I'm
I
not.
always thought that that was when I first met the creator of Queen's Memory Project, Natalie Milbrot. I said, my students are remote, but if you need help with transcription, that's just a file exchange. We'll set up a PHP server and just swap files back and forth. So that's really what I'm trying to find my students more like remote or hybrid internship opportunities where they can get that experience working on a project based, something like transcribing an oral history or transcribing a home video, to give them some hands-on experience of the kind of work that librarians have to do, especially from my perspective as a certified accessibility advocate. I want to make sure that everything is captioned. Um, Ashley, how do you feel? You've been in the field now for 7 years. You've been at Queen's Library working way, you're advancing your career and you're doing it very deliberately. And how do you feel that DLIS prepared you best for starting your career search and starting your career?
Sure. So one of the things that was super helpful to me, especially when it was getting close to the semester where I was graduating, was the newsletter that you send out with lots of job opportunities. That's actually how I wound up applying to Queen's Library. I applied to 2 different like job opportunities at the same time within Queens. And I was interviewed for both at the same time. And then I was given an opportunity to say which one I'd prefer. Um, and then in terms of like the coursework, sorry, is there a lot of feedback coming through me?
No, I think it's Alan actually, but that's fine.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't my headphones. Uh, in terms of the coursework, I think DLIS was good at kind of like giving you a taste of what different like specialties are like taking an archive specific class and having you do like an academic service urging project like at an actual archive, or doing some type of like with Dr. Lee for children's. I had to like create a program and like try to carry it out at my local library, which was really good because once you are in the job, classroom conditions are ideal, right? Where you're going to have all the time in the world to plan a program and choose your books and choose your songs and make everything really great. But if you're doing, 4 to 6 programs a week, and I'm not saying everybody does that, but when I was a children's librarian, I did try to give like somewhere between 3 and 5 programs every week. In addition to all of my other responsibilities, I didn't have 2 hours to select books that are gonna perfectly tie in with the arts and crafts that I wanted to do and make it this whole, beautiful thing. Um, so it kind of gives you a little bit of a taste of what the actual job is like. Um, I felt like the children's classes and the archives classes were particularly good at that, but those were also, the electives that I chose to take. So I felt like really, I would encourage students to try different electives, because I feel like that's really where you're going to get, a little bit more realistic experience for what those individual jobs are like, and it might guide what you decide to do after, graduate school.
Now, what's the technical services situation with Queens, right? It's off-site, I think. Like we have students that just are interested in the technical aspect of librarianship, in the cataloging and in the processing of physical media, um, and tagging digital media. Where does that happen at Queens Library?
Um, I don't know who wants to answer that, but there are, centralized, like, jobs for that, and maybe Thomas can speak to that a little bit better than I can.
Yeah, we have a department at the library in our central location, above the central library here in Jamaica, Queens, that serves those purposes. Yeah.
Okay, good, because that's another aspect of our program. We've been, we're completely online, and so we've got students scattered around the country. But there's a contingent that definitely wants to focus on being, I don't know how to put it another way, but they want to be in a dark room surrounded by dusty books. Like that's the avenue that's what they want to pursue in their career is to be. So when Ashley mentions archival training, that's what I thought of that the archival students might be interested in learning more about the technical services, what I would classically call technical services side of librarianship, which is bibliographic management and cataloging and making sure that the inspecting the objects. I've also heard from alumni that they wish they had experience with preservation and conservation of materials. And so that's something I'm curious. I guess you do that in-house, or do you just replace books that are beyond repair?
So we do some in-house repair. Um, Maybe not to, like, the extent that maybe students are wanting. Like, I had a very unique experience when I was at St. John's because I wasn't a DLIS graduate assistant, I was a university libraries graduate assistant. And so, if you remember, when I was there, they still had the book preservation department with Donna, I think,
Yeah.
where she taught me how to do like actual book binding and like, creating like covers from scratch and everything like that. I will be honest, I don't do much of that. I do some repair, like if the spine needs repairing or like, things that can be fixed easily with like, like book glue, tape, stuff like that. But in the branches, we don't have such, rare materials that we have to, completely deconstruct a book and then reconstruct it. That would be something more like the archive at Queen's Library. And then that would be like a skill that you would need for like preserving more unique material rather than like the stuff that we have in the branch that I can just go on Ingram and buy another copy.
Yeah, that's we've had this come up before from our advisory board where they say like any kind of hands-on experience. St. John's, our traditional reputation is mostly slanted toward academic librarians, but we have produced some pretty impactful art librarians and museum librarians who want that kind of hands-on experience with restoration and preservation. Um, and I mean, they can get it. There's institutions that provide that. You can just take a course at another LIS program that has a bookbindery, concentration. Uh, but that's pretty much it. So I think that the takeaway from this is let's get customer service experience, right? Bring that to the table first. Prioritize that because that you can be shunted into any other department if you have that customer care training and experience. Um, Hands-on work in a library, right? Picking up a few shifts, maybe even volunteering in your local library if you have that. So just so that you learn the operation of the library and bring that to the table when you interview, when you start your career search. And also that relation of the coursework as preparedness for real world uh, programming and working. I like that connection because I think that's the point of our e-portfolio, which is our end of program assessment, where the students have to take a piece of coursework that they completed and tell us demonstrates to the faculty how that proves that they've met one of the core competencies of librarianship established by the American Library Association. So that making those connections while you're still in the program, you can take that skill out into the real world and say, oh yeah, I did this assignment and I had this great idea for a program. Let's do that. I mean, we had a student a few years ago who did cosplay. She did a research project on cosplay in libraries, and now she's working at the College of Staten Island, and she runs an annual cosplay festival where she teaches the students how to make costumes, and then they have like a contest and a parade or whatever. And she took that thought experiment that she did in a programming course and brought it into her practice, and now she's kind of famous for running this cosplay at the College of Staten Island. So be mindful of the courses you're taking, explore our curriculum, explore the course offerings. You're going to meet with your advisors, talk about this, what Ashley brought up of trying different electives. We've got 7 specializations in DLIS, and so try to sample each of those 7 flavors during your program of study. You're going to still be earning the credits, and if you find something that you don't like, a lot of people want to be children's librarians and then find out they don't like kids. Or a lot of people want to be academic librarians, and then they find out they don't like academics, they don't like professors. So, you have to go into those spaces to adjust your course. Well, thank you. This was very insightful. I'm very happy that you all met with me today. Any closing remarks, any questions for me about our program or curriculum? All right. Well, I'm going to share my screen again just to wrap up. Upcoming dates to be mindful of here at St. John's. Next Tuesday, November 5, Election Day, university will be closed. Go vote. Very important election. Go vote, please, all the way down the ballot. Following week, November 11th, Veterans Day, the university is closed. Day after that, November 12th, is the last day to make a change to your schedule. Talk to your advisor about how to do that. November 15th, the DLIS e-portfolio is due for students pursuing a degree conferral date of January 30, 2025. And then finally, at the end of the month, Thanksgiving recess, enjoy it. The university is closed. And again, when I say university is closed, that means all offices are closed. So any business that you want done on that day ain't gonna happen. All right. Well, thanks again for joining us. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Ashley, for taking time away from your beautiful babies. I'll see you all. Well, next time we meet, it'll be like this, but have a very pleasant rest of your day and enjoy your weekend. Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
Yes, you too.
Bye-bye.